My great-grandma Ritter and I never had the chance to cross paths, but I was able to put together pieces of her through photos, stories, and her recipes. The standout recipe in my family is her coffee cake. The origin of this cake is unknown, and I haven't been able to find any similar recipes online, in her countless newspaper and magazine clippings, or in the margins that she found the space to write in, or on the back of any sort of ingredient packaging. As far as any of us know, it is completely hers. That in the recipe should always be followed to a T. Otherwise, you're just making coffee cake. It is a recipe that has been made time and time again for friends, family, and loved ones. There have been countless stories, jokes, and tales alike that have been shared around the table over cups of coffee accompanied by this coffee cake. Making and sharing food with folks I care about has been a big part of my life and led me to look into the ways stories and food can connect people to each other. Sharing recipes, making them your own, investigating the history of a particular ingredient, or a memory brought forth from a specific smell, they all contain stories. I never met my Grandma Ritter, but feel a connection to her and to everyone I've ever had the pleasure of sharing a slice of this cinnamon treat with. Here's to the stories we tell and the relationships we build with our respective plates.
Hey friends, I'm Sammy Mila. I've been a food stylist for about 11 years here in Des Moines, Iowa, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about my relationship with food. For me, food has always been more than a means of survival or satiation. It's a means of connection and communication. I was asked to record a video of myself making a recipe and talk about what the recipe means to me. I decided to take a different approach and record myself making something that doesn't necessarily require a recipe, but still has meaning to my approach to food and what food means to me. I was once told that good food has 2 layers, but great food has 3. Not in a literal sense like lasagna, but in the sense of flavor and texture. We often hear about the snacks that are both salty and sweet, but when you add a 3rd layer like earthy, spicy, or briny, those snacks become addictive. Same goes for textures. You can make good nachos with just crispy chips and creamy queso, but you can make great nachos just by adding some soft avocado, chunky salsa, or tender ground beef. Food is sensory, and making a well-structured cheese board gives you an opportunity to excite your senses by providing all of the push and pull needed to keep you going back for more. Having at least 3 different flavors and textures on the board is key to making a board that sparks curiosity and satisfaction. You always want to start with the cheeses. You have options that range from a creamy brie to a hard aged cheddar or Parmesan. The assorted cured meats will guarantee a salty element on the board, and the assorted crackers and breads make the perfect vehicles to marry flavors into one bite. Not to mention, you get the added crunchy textures. Jams will anchor the sweet element, nuts the earthy element, and assorted fruits and candies make a fun intermission between bites. Having assorted flavors and textures will give you the freedom to get creative, or choose your adventure, as some could say. That, to me, is the structure of all things culinary. You want the food you eat to spark excitement. Excitement then sparks curiosity. Curiosity then sparks conversation, and conversation then sparks connection. Food is a bridge to culture. It's a love language, and it's the foundation of many core memories. So whatever you choose to cook up next, take a second and appreciate it. Break down the flavors and textures you've put together and how you can elevate them. Not all recipes are created to satisfy all palates, so get creative. Ketchup is sweet, right? It makes the perfect pairing for hot, salty French fries. You know what else is sweet? A chocolate milkshake. What else can you try with fries that's sweet? Marshmallow fluff? Grape jam? Cream cheese frosting? With food, your options are literally endless.
Hi, I'm Zoe, and I'm delighted to share my story and this plate with you.
I used to avoid cooking, and truthfully, there are times now that I still do avoid it. I began to enjoy it when I stopped viewing it as a tremendous chore. That really made a huge difference. Besides thinking negatively about cooking, The other reason I disliked it so much was because I wasn't interested in it. I found it really boring. Cooking is a creative activity. There are so many ingredients to try, combine, and experiment with, and once I realized this, cooking became fun. I started to try recipes that were new to me. I made dishes that weren't my usual go-tos. I was actually liking cooking. The new recipes I liked eventually ended up on my go-tos list, the very list I was trying to get away from. But I was okay with that. It wasn't the same list anymore. It now had variety, and if I kept trying new recipes and adding to it, how could I ever become bored again? When I'm choosing a new recipe to try, some of my deciding factors are what's on sale and what am I in the mood for? Searching for a new recipe by what is on sale is my favorite because, well, I have to watch my budget. But best of all is that I've tried recipes with ingredient combinations I would have never thought of trying otherwise. I've also not completely followed the recipes if I don't have all the ingredients available to me. Some recipes I've made in the past have the same main ingredient as the new one I'm trying out, so I experiment and pull ingredients from one recipe and add it to the other. In this video, I'm making a cauliflower chickpea salad. It's one of my new go-tos. I first made it because I really wanted something with chickpeas in it, and cauliflower was on sale. I was unable to find all the ingredients from the original recipe, so I left some out and substituted ingredients in from another recipe that had cauliflower. The funny thing is, both of these recipes were also recipes the cooks changed to fit with what they had on hand. I wonder, over time, how often these dishes have changed. It's fascinating how recipes can evolve and transform, and in the end, it creates something new, and I find that beautiful.
I remember coming over and always being excited if there's a big container of kolaches. How long have you been making them?
Since I can remember.
Yeah?
Well, when I was out in the country, I made them all the time, so I would say I would be married 67 years in June. Probably made them for at least 60 years of that at least. Cutting it like coarse cornmeal. Pouring the milk into the yeast and the eggs. And start mixing. We lived on a farm and we had 6 boys and 1 girl. Your dad was the oldest, so he thinks he did the most work. I have 19 grandchildren, 23 great-grandchildren, and they're all good people. Put all the dough on the flour, get it kneaded a while. You see my grandpa with the sword?
Downstairs.
Yeah. See, he was in the Czech army and they decided they didn't like it, and so they came across to the U.S., America. Both sets of my grandparents came from Czechoslovakia. My mom's side, between 96 and 98. And they had 1 baby that was born in Czechoslovakia. And then they came here and they had 3 more boys and a girl. So that was my mom. This is what we do. Put 4 fingers and I'll do 1 pan, you do another. And my folks always had oyster stew for Christmas Eve. And we always had a huge turkey to eat. I always got the drumstick. I love the drumstick. I'll tell you what to do. You put at least 3 cherries in each one if you can, like this.
Okay.
See? A tradition at Christmas time at home when we were home, my folks would have a dinner plate and then they'd turn it over and they'd put a few coins under them, and nobody ever got the same amount, which wasn't right, but that's what happened. Ishka. It's sugar, flour, and butter. That was my timer, wasn't it? You're following me? Yeah. This is real butter. It's not margarine, so it makes them taste a little better.
We have finished collages.
We do. Oh, we're all done.